What's up, everyone? Tara Roberts here, and we are doing a Dallas Cowboys fantasy team preview. Yes, a whole video dedicated to the Cowboys, covering my picks for the Cowboys breakout player, bust, and sleeper. We'll start off with the breakout player, and it is no other than Tony Pollard. Pollard is officially the RB1 of the Dallas Cowboys, an offense that was 6th in the NFL in 2022 in rush attempts, 8th in rushing yards, and 2nd in rushing touchdowns. Now, we still have to proceed with caution because there is a group of veteran backs on the market that are looking for a new home. So if the Cowboys can snag a back like Leonard Fournette or Kareem Hunt at a cheap price, I could see them adding another back because it is very slim behind Tony Pollard. Regardless, Pollard will be the RB1 in 2023 for the Cowboys. In 2022, Pollard had career highs of 193 attempts, 107 rushing yards, and 9 touchdowns, and finished as a top 10 back in all scoring formats. And he did all of that with Ezekiel Elliott still serving as a significant part of the Cowboys offense, with 12 rushing touchdowns, all of which, of course, came in the red zone, second only to Jamal Williams. So the exit of Elliott should open up more touchdown opportunities for Pollard, who still had the 11th most rushing touchdowns in the league. Put that in perspective. The Cowboys want to remain balanced and rely on the run. Pollard has been extremely effective on the ground, and he will see an increase in volume this year. He is a fantastic RB1 in all formats. Moving on to my Cowboys bust pick, and sadly, it's Dak Prescott. Now, let me preface this by saying, when I say that Dak is a bust candidate for the Cowboys, I'm not saying that he is going to be awful or regress or struggle. This is a fantasy football specific take in terms of his ADP and the upside that he has relative to quarterbacks being drafted around him. Quite frankly, the problem with Dak and why he's a bust candidate is that he is essentially sitting in no man's land with capped upside this year in what I believe is going to be a resurgence of low-end QB1s offering strong upside. Dak is currently QB10 in ADP and being drafted behind guys like Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, and Deshaun Watson, and just ahead of guys like Tua Tagovailoa, Daniel Jones, and Anthony Richardson. Makes sense. But Dak is essentially wedged between guys that offer high volume through the air or upside on the ground. And there's a very real possibility that Dak ends up being in that QB 13 to 16 range in average points per game. It feels weird to call Dak a bust because he's actually been a very stable quarterback when healthy, but those were different times. Without strong rushing upside this year, Dak could fall in the rankings. When we talked about Tony Pollard, I mentioned that the Cowboys want to be a run-heavy team and slow down the pace of their offense. And while that could help their offense from a real football perspective, from a fantasy football perspective, the transition to a new offense might not be what's best for Dak's fantasy value. If the Cowboys continue to be run heavy, it ultimately caps Dak's upside and stops him from having that top 5 ceiling that several other quarterbacks being drafted around him have. And finally, let's talk about my sleeper pick for the Cowboys, Luke Schoonmaker. While Jake Ferguson is the tight end 1 in the depth chart right now, the Cowboys used a second-round draft pick on Luke Schoonmaker. Ferguson could end up being the tight end 1, or the offense could move to more of a committee-style approach with such a young tight end room. But we can't deny that Schoonmaker's draft capital instantly places him in a position to push for tight end 1. He was drafted 58th overall at the end of a very aggressive tight end run that saw all of the top prospects scooped up before Dallas could even make a move. His receiving profile was a little underwhelming in college. He's certainly capable, well-rounded, and athletic, but with just 54 total receptions and 7 total touchdowns at Michigan, he saw far less volume than his more proven counterparts like Dalton Kincaid and Michael Mayer. But with OTAs underway, Schoonmaker is making progress within the Dallas offense. He's already getting reps with the ones at OTAs, and if he can impress and push for the majority of tight end work, even a portion of the volume vacated by Schultz would be enough to make him fantasy relevant. Now, he's not someone that we should be drafting, even if he earns a tight end 1 role. But he is someone to monitor, to keep on your radar this offseason as a sleeper, so you can be first in line for early waiver wire ad or streaming options. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video and comment below, and stick around for more fantastic offseason content.